Today we will be talking about the Ukrainian refugee crisis in the world. Let's talk about it. Migration crisis. Many people ask what a migration or refugee crisis is. A migration crisis is a difficult or dangerous situation that arises due to the movement of large groups of immigrants in the receiving state. Migrants are often escaping from conditions which have negatively affected the people in the country of origin. A frequently asked question is, are migration and refugee crises the same thing? Well, yes and no. A refugee crisis is when displaced people move from their home country to another in an unsafe manner. So, the similarity is that they both leave their hometown, but contrast because refugees are forced to leave and migrants choose to leave. Some examples of current migration crises in the world are shelter and non-food items, health support, transportation, and land and poverty support. Approximately, there are nearly 6.5 million refugees from Ukraine that are currently being affected by the migration crisis.
Segment 2. Introduce assigned migration crisis. This crisis is taking place in Ukraine. Migration is occurring due to the full-scale war in Ukraine that began on February 24, 2022, which follows the Russian Federation's invasion of the country. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has affected the people by causing the largest refugee crisis, and the war continues to force people, most women, girls, and elderly people, to Poland, Moldova, and other European states. The number of civilian casualties during the war in Ukraine was verified by the Office of United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights. It verified a total of 35,160 civilian casualties as of July 31st, 2024.
What is the global impact? Ukraine is certainly not the only country affected by the war. Although there is $155 billion worth of cost of destruction caused so far, countries in Europe neighboring Ukraine have been housing many of the immigrants from the Ukraine-Russian war. The invasion of Ukraine has caused the largest forced migration in Europe since the end of World War II. Up to a third of the population has been scattered in the nearby countries in hopes to escape the mass destruction. The majority of the refugees have fled to Russia, Poland, Moldova, Romania, Slovakia, and Hungary. They have fled to these specific countries because of its geographic proximity. The refugees have faced many struggles along their journey seeking refuge from the war in Ukraine. They have been stranded in the middle of fighting and face difficulties getting across the border. Escape from the destructive war is not possible for those who do not have the resources, and even if some manage to get out, it is difficult to find sustainable and affordable housing. Housing for people displaced by the war is scarce and inadequate. Many refugees from the Ukrainian crisis are having trouble integrating into the countries they have fled to. Even though European countries have been unusually welcoming in their degree of support and hospitality, it is not enough to get them back on their feet. There is an overwhelming number of migrants fleeing into Ukraine's neighboring countries.
Segment 4. Support for and of crisis. Many international communities are helping with this crisis. For example, the World Bank has been working with international partners to mobilize fast dispersing funds to help the government of Ukraine. There are various international or nonprofits that are helping Ukraine, but three that stick out are UNICEF, the United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. They have been supporting children and families in Ukraine since 1997 by meeting needs for health, safe, and nutrition, while also safeguarding children's rights and long-term well-being by helping to strengthen critical systems and services. Ransom for Ukraine. They have a single goal: to unlock the potential of Ukraine by creating spaces where people meet, partner, and do. Internation Rescue Committee. They help Ukraine by helping the people affected by humanitarian crisis to survive, recover, and rebuild their lives. Thank you for listening to this documentary on the unfortunate circumstances in Ukraine. In order to get more recent and valuable information, you can access the ua.usembassy.gov and understandingwar.org. Thank you.